What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA. All right, everybody, check it out, man. You guys remember a couple of days back, we were covering the Saturday premiere of Snow White and the social media reactions. You know, all of the shill media's reactions to Snow White after they got out of the premiere with their goodie bags right in hand. Said, let me go off and write this review, all right? Shillington and the gang, they went out there and they was glazing this thing up. Y'all remember that? They were glazing this damn movie up, man, slobbering all over it, talking about, oh my God, it's a visual feast. You know, it's one of Disney's best live action remakes in years. You guys remember that? And I said, everybody slow down for like 2 seconds. Wait to see what these same cats or some other people are saying, the ones that didn't go to the premiere, all right, that didn't get the goodie bag. Wait until they start putting out their reviews, because those cats, they could just be honest, all right? They ain't got to worry about access. You know, they ain't got to worry about, oh, shit, I didn't get my check. I didn't get my goodie bag. I didn't get my invite. Yeah, here's what they think about you, Disney. Okay, 44%. Here's what they think about you. 44. That's embarrassing, man. That is straight up embarrassing to Walt Disney's original classic, y'all. They pulling a 44. They pulling a Jerry West on us. Okay. They pulling the Jerry West. He wore number 44 for the Lakers. They pulling, what's his name? Jim Brown. Jim Brown wore 44, right? He wore 44. That's what Snow White, they should get a little jersey for Snow White. Put 44 on that joint. Oh my God, man. That's terrible, man. And look, it's worse than that, man, because when you go to the top critics giving this joint a 29%. The top critics are saying this is dog shit. That's basically what the top critics are saying. And look, I always say this. We don't care about these Rotten Tomato scores. We're looking forward to seeing what this popcorn meter is like. You know, but audiences are absolutely looking at this 44%. Regular, normie, general audiences, they're looking at the 44% and they're saying like, I don't know about this. Man, you know, like, are we really about to drop all of this money to go and watch this movie? I don't know about this one. I'm curious as to why the popcorn meter hasn't gotten activated yet. 250 plus verified ratings. Rotten Tomatoes, what you waiting on? They know what the score is, and they probably don't want to put it out there just quite yet to give this movie a little bit more of a chance. But look, we've seen 100 plus verified ratings get a score. So what's going on here, Disney? And I should say Disney, Rotten Tomatoes / Disney. What's going on here? But look, we already know that this thing's just going to be hot garbage. All the reviewers are basically saying it. This is on That Park Play. Shout out to Marvin Montanaro. Snow White movie review, Gal Gadot hams, Zegler belts, and audiences bolt from this mess of a film. Yeah, it's absolutely a mess. All right, they ain't alone, all right? They ain't the only one saying it. You got this one right here from Screen Rant, Snow White review. Rachel Zegler is the perfect Disney princess, but that's not good enough to overshadow live-action remake problems. So they're even saying, yeah, this is problematic. This is Screen Rant, you know, a very shilly site on top of it. This is from the Huffington Post, of all places. Snow White is a strange, hot mess. These cats here, this was thegate.ca. Snow White review, Snow Blight is more like it. Yeah, that's what I call it. I said Snow Blight. You know, this thing is bad, man. A Disney Snow White review roundup, exhaustingly awful. 1 star. That's Newsweek, all right? A major mainstream publishing. Yeah, awful. Absolutely awful. And finally, we get over to World of Real. 3.5 million in previews. And then IMDb, of course, has to shut down the user rating after a 2.3 out of 10 score. That's about what I had. I said this thing is a 2 out of 10. Yeah, but Variety, they also put it out there. Box office, Snow White makes 3.5 million in previews. All right. Thursday night previews, that kind of gives you an indicator of how this thing is going to look for the whole weekend. And that's bad, man. 3.5 million is bad. You know, Variety tried to clean it up. Oh, Snow White is singing her way to the box office this weekend as the latest live-action Disney remake hits the big screen. Yeah, but it's 3.5 million in Thursday previews. They're saying it's projected to make 45 to 55 million in its opening weekend. That's domestically, plus another 50 million internationally for a worldwide launch of around $100 million. So just to try to put all of this in perspective, all right, I had posted this up to the same article headline by Deadline with Snow White beginning with 3.5 million in previews. I said, for a little context, The Little Mermaid made 10.3 million in its Thursday preview night. Snow White is in Dumbo territory, all right? Dumbo territory, basically, it's bad. This is Snow White we're talking about. This isn't just some run-of-the-mill, fly-by-night character. This is the character that literally launches the Walt Disney Company. This is the most important princess of all the Disney princesses. This is top notch. And even Screen Rant had to call it out. Snow White's Rotten Tomatoes score shockingly sets a Disney live action princess record. And what record might that be? Yeah, it's the lowest score of any of Disney's live action remakes about princesses. All right. The original princess, the one that started it all, Snow White, the one they probably should have taken the most time with and made sure that they got every facet of this thing right. Like, hey, man, let's take our time. Let's make sure we do this right. Let's not rush. Let's make sure we cast it appropriately. All they literally had to do is just a shot-for-shot remake. That's what I would have done. I would have said, you know what? I'm going to do a shot-for-shot remake of this movie. As if Walt Disney was looking over my shoulder the entire time. Because this is his movie. This is his baby. The one that started the entire company. I would have said, you know what? We're approaching this with all of the reverence. I would have did a complete homage to the original. We're going to cast this thing appropriately. We're going to get 7 little people to play dwarves. As a matter of fact, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do like a live casting, you know, full open casting. Find a little German girl somewhere in Germany to do this. We're going to go to German forests. I would have made a big production out of it. And I would have tried to make it as faithful as possible. But nope, they didn't do that. They decided to shove a whole lot of messages and socialism in it and feminism in it. And yeah, it's the lowest one ever. All right. So you're talking about Cinderella, Mulan, Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid, Snow White. The lowest one. And this was 47%. That was what it was when they wrote this article. Obviously, now it's down to 44. And dropping. It's going to get into the 30s, I'm telling you. It might bounce back out of the 30s, but it's definitely going to get to the 30s. Because people are not rocking with this thing, man. It is absolutely ridiculous. Hey, Steph from My Nerdy Home had posted this up, talking about Grumpy. Yeah, she's saying, I love Grumpy. He's my favorite dwarf because of his character growth in the OG movie. I'll never forgive Disney for stripping him of his storyline, giving it to Dobie because they thought Grumpy was too misogynistic and sexist. That was like part of the thing about the dwarves. Like they had their own different little personalities and it worked in the original film. I said this, the 7 dwarves had a ton of charm and personality. Today's Disney could never make a movie on the level of the 1937 classic. They never could. They would never be able to do something like this movie here, okay? Like Snow White. This is going to go down. I'm telling you guys right now. The remake of the movie that started the company will wind up becoming the biggest disaster in the history of the company. The irony of that is just too hilarious. And it just shows people are sick and tired of these live action remakes. People don't want them anymore. Give us the originals. We don't need to see these. You know, and so here we are, 44%. Let's refresh because, you know, we got to refresh to see if it dropped. No, it's still there. But yeah, I'm still waiting on this tomato meter, or excuse me, the popcorn meter to jump off. All right. You know, it's like, look, a lot of these cheap. It was entertaining, loved it. You know, my wife and I love the new Snow White movie. It brings back the magic that Disney was. I don't know what movie y'all watched, all right, but it wasn't Snow White, all right, because this was hot garbage, bro. Look, all the 5 stars are starting to pile up, man. This is so bad. All of the 5 stars, here they come. Oh, look, somebody would have won, all right? Somebody would have 1 star. Glad I didn't pay for this. Yeah, man. Look, Ashley, 4 stars. Look, the verifieds, I guarantee you this thing, the difference between the verified audience and the actual all audience, that's going to be wild. That's absolutely going to be wild. But yeah, look, the 5 stars are going to start piling up and nobody's going to say anything about review boosting. Nobody's going to say a mumbling word about that. But if this thing gets destroyed by the all review bombing, they'll talk about that. But nobody's going to say anything about all of these bogus-ass 5-star reviews. We won't hear a single word, a single peep about this. Yeah, and then back to the box office. Variety is saying basically Snow White's going to end up below the Little Mermaid remake, which started with $95 million. More in line with 2019's Dumbo, which launched with $45 million. Little Mermaid had $10.3 million in previews, while Dumbo took flight with $2.6 million. Yeah, so that's the thing. The previews are kind of telling you, okay, based on what we know of movies, we can kind of tell that this thing is going to end up somewhere around 50 million. They've been saying it for a while, so it looks like all the stars are aligning. Snow White costs a lot more, though, right? $250 million plus marketing costs. This thing is well into the $300 million budget. Best believe that. Well into the $300 million budget. And when you look at the screen, it's like, yeah, I guess they just overdid it with the CGI. The CGI in this movie is just god-awful. God awful. Disney's most recent photorealistic Mufasa the Lion King opened to just 35 million, but managed to make 252 million domestically, 716 million worldwide. See the difference though with Mufasa the Lion King and Snow White, and I've said this before, Mufasa the Lion King isn't a remake. It's a new movie. It's something different. So if you don't know, it's like, I don't know what the movie's about. I got to go out and watch it. I know what Snow White is. It's been around for 85 years. I already know what this movie is. So now the question is, do I really want to go and see a remake, a bastardized remake of an original classic movie? You know, again, maybe if they did a shot-for-shot remake and they took time and they, cast it appropriately and we got the 7 little people and they put a lot of heart and soul into it, okay, I get that. Then, yeah, maybe this is something that I can rock with. This, 44%, this tells me, no, they didn't do none of that. All they did was a cheap cash grab. That's it. And then they tried to feminize it and put all kinds of communism and everything else in there. It is not worth anybody's money. I'm sorry. It's just not worth your time, your money. I wish I could get my time back, But anyway, we'll see what happens with this thing as the time progresses. I think it dips down into the 30s. I think over the weekend, we're probably looking at less than $50 million overall at the box office. And the bigger question is, now what, Disney? What's your next move? We know Lilo and Stitch is coming out and a couple of other films, but it seems like Disney is slowly but surely losing its grip on its audience. They no longer are trusted, storytellers. They'll take a great original classic, they'll bastardize it, they'll destroy it. Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think about this situation. Jump down in the comments, give me your thoughts and opinions on that. And thanks for watching. See you next time.